Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Let's get right to it as we got the documents, folks. It has been leaked, according to ESPN, what the Kansas City Chiefs draft plans are heading into next week's draft. And the big question that's on everybody's minds is the offensive tackle position. After signing Jalen Moore in NFL free agency, could there still be an offensive tackle option on the table for the Kansas City Chiefs to select with their first-round pick? And the answer to that question is abso-freaking-lutely. And that appears to be the direction that the Chiefs want to go. And there is a certain name in mind that they have for that spot. Let's tell you more from ESPN's Adam Teicher, who writes the following. Jalen Moore started only 12 games in 4 seasons with the 49ers. The Chiefs need a backup plan in case he isn't an upgrade over Kingsley, Wanya, or their other left tackle options from last season. The better question is whether the Chiefs can find value at left tackle from their current number 31 spot. Would they reach for a lower graded prospect to fill that need? And I got to tell you, my friends, this is absolutely the right call for the Kansas City Chiefs to prioritize this offensive line situation, because while we are optimistic about Jalen Moore, and I think that he could be a very good starting left tackle, we don't know for certain. And also, let's say that you find somebody that's better with that first-round pick than what Moore is at the tackle spot. Well, he's got experience at guard, and you have uncertainty at the left guard spot right now as well. So maybe you move more to the guard position, and obviously you don't know about Jawaan Taylor's future beyond this year as well. So the more the merrier. We'll explain more and show you who that prospect is that the Chiefs have their eyes on in just a moment. But first, quick plug. I want to make sure you guys subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report, as we are in the midst of a sub-battle with some of our rival AFC West channels. And you can see we have fallen slightly behind, folks. This sub-battle is wrapping up with the draft, and we have work to do to catch up with the Raiders Report and Broncos Breakdown, as we're behind both of those. So we need your help, folks, for daily Kansas City Chiefs news and rumors. Our live shows each and every Tuesday will be live for the NFL draft as well, in addition to breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. You need to subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. If you're a real member of the Chiefs Kingdom and you want to stick it to the rest of the AFC West, subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Let's continue with more from ESPN's Jordan Reid, who writes the following. Moore won't prevent the Chiefs from devoting more resources to improving their problematic tackle situation. Kansas City wants a player with experience at left and right tackle. And what this comes down to is strength in numbers. You never know if a player is not going to hold their own, whether it's Moore or Kingsley or somebody else, but also if injuries pile up, and starting to think about your future, as there's a pretty good chance that this will be the last year for Jawaan Taylor in Kansas City. So you have to start evaluating your options and prepare for the coming years ahead. And I think that's what Kansas City has in mind here with this idea of potentially drafting an offensive tackle here with this first-round pick. And the name to watch, according to Jordan Reid, is none other than Josh Simmons from Ohio State. Josh Simmons makes a lot of sense if he falls due to concern over his torn pectoral tendon. He could compete with Moore or supplant Jawaan Taylor at right tackle. Simmons makes a ton of sense, I think, for the Kansas City Chiefs. And even with the injuries that he had this past season, he was still one of the best offensive linemen in all of college football and was a big part of Ohio State's national championship run this past season. He looks the part, and had he not had the injuries, we could be talking about Simmons being picked in the first 15 picks of this year's draft. And if you're Kansas City, obviously you're never going to be in position to draft a player of that level. And so you're kind of at the mercy of everybody else where, hey, maybe we go ahead and take a chance on a guy that we normally wouldn't have the opportunity to get that's still just as good as some of these other players, but does come with that injury concern. And you pick him at 31, then you have the fifth-year option flexibility that you get with the first-round picks as well. So I think it could be well worth it for Kansas City to go that route. So let's ask you now, your chance to be on the clock here on the Chiefs Report. Should the Chiefs draft an offensive tackle? Type D for draft, type P for pass. Way in the comments section, let us know which way you lean towards, if they should draft an offensive tackle or not. Coming up here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report, we are going to go over the Chiefs' Day 2 draft plans. We'll have more on Simmons in just a moment, but there's also been some reporting on what they have in mind for day number 2. We'll examine that here in just a matter of moments. Before we do that, let's tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get-to playoff seats. Look, many of you know I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. I'm looking at getting down to Oklahoma City to watch some playoff basketball and hopefully root on the Thunder to an NBA title. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. They have last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have their seat views where you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Maybe you don't want to head down to Oklahoma City and watch the playoffs. Maybe you want to stay right here in Kansas City and see your Royals in action, or maybe it's the current Sporting KC, all sorts of events and savings on Game Time. Choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. Then you choose your seat, and just like that, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. All right, let's talk more about Josh Simmons, who the Chiefs have their eye on for that number 31 overall pick. Began his career at San Diego State and then played his final 2 seasons at The Ohio State. Was a third-team All-Big Ten selection this past year, a part of Ohio State's national championship squad. And the thing for me that I see with Josh Simmons is that you will find a spot for him one way or another within this Chiefs offense. And you may be saying to yourself, all right, you got more at the left tackle position. You got Jawan Taylor at the right tackle spot. I'll find a way to make it work with Josh Simmons, whether I have to move more to the guard position or if I'm having to potentially play Simmons at guard. The number one objective, the priority if you're the Kansas City Chiefs here, I think, is you need to get your best 5 out there in some way, shape, or form. And with Simmons, you'll find a way to make it work. And it's almost positionless, kind of like what basketball's become in the NBA. You just get the best 5, and I think that's what you do with Simmons. His grades, let's go over those, starting with the overall numbers from last year. 74.4 overall grade, pass block grade of 82. A run block grade not nearly as good at 68.7, but he did not allow a single sack and only got called for 1 penalty. And taking that a step further at his stats, did not give up a single hit. Only 1 hurry was allowed on top of that. Now, even though he only got called for 1 penalty, that's been a problem for him earlier in his career. We'll explain that in just a moment. His scouting report, loose, fluid mover, excellent quickness, very good play strength. Also has an ability to show an inside strike to punch. But in the past, not this year, but in the past, he was known for having some careless penalties. So we'll see if that changes for him down the line. What do you think about Josh Simmons? Should the Chiefs draft him? What say you? Type Y for yes, in for no. Your chance to be the GM here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Way in the comments section and sound off. More from the ESPN draft report. Jordan Reid saying that in day 2, besides just the offensive tackle spot in the first round, when we move on to day 2, Chiefs obviously have multiple picks. The running back position is on the table. And the good news for the Kansas City Chiefs, there are lots of good options. This is a loaded running back class. I would say that when you evaluate the positions in this year's draft, running back is probably the deepest position out there. And I don't even think you have to take one day 2, potentially. If you want to take care of some other things, you can circle back and get a very good running back later on in day 3 if you need to. You look at Kiper's rankings of the top running backs in this year's draft. Jeanty definitely going to be gone by the time the Chiefs pick at 31. Hampton's really good too. Pretty decent chance he's gone. And then you start to see some of these other guys, whether it's Judkins from Ohio State, Henderson from Ohio State. They were a terrific 1-2 punch, the best running back tandem in college football this year. You got Caleb Johnson from Iowa, who Field Yates just a couple weeks ago was projecting that the Chiefs take in the second round, and a very aggressive runner in his own right. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. I think that a lot of talk has been there this week about Nico and leaving Tennessee and how valuable he was to that Tennessee offense. I would say that Dylan Sampson was the most valuable player to that Tennessee offense and helping them get to the college football playoff this past year. LaQuint Allen from Syracuse, another name to watch. And then you got guys like Trevor Etienne. He's the brother, of course, of Travis Etienne, who's with the Jags and played at Florida. He's really good. I like Cam Scatterbo a lot out of Arizona State. And then there's R.J. Harvey, who is a very good runner as well at UCF. And that's not even to mention guys like Ollie Gordon, Devin Neal, among others here. There's plenty of good backs that Kansas City can have to choose from. You may like the current Chiefs running back room with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and Elijah Mitchell. You may be a fan of this running back group, and you're entitled to that belief if you so choose. But here's the reality of the situation for the Kansas City Chiefs at the running back spot right now. None, not one of those guys, and I would include Carson Steele in this too, are a part of the team's long-term plans. We told you a couple weeks ago that the Chiefs have no plans right now to extend Isaiah Pacheco, at least for the time being. I think with Pacheco, they want to see what he does this year and then kind of take it year by year after that. I think if we're going to be honest with ourselves, pretty much every one of us would be surprised if Isaiah Pacheco is still here for the next 2 or 3 years. I think that the Chiefs have a track record of getting the most out of they can of their running backs and then move on and replace them with younger and cheaper running backs. So with that said, yes, the running back position is going to be a priority for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it will be something that they need to address to try to figure out those long-term plans. So, of the running backs in this year's draft, who comes to mind that you would like to see in Kansas City? Give me a name that you think the Chiefs should draft. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Going to be a fun next week or so as we get you ready for the 2025 NFL Draft. We'll be live for the draft here on the channel. Can't wait, and we'll continue to cover it all in our lead-up to next Thursday night right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time.